You might be familiar with, or a lot of people might be more familiar with, the book called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions that came out in 1960 or 61, which was a work of history in the United States, talking about how scientific revolutions often don't actually build on the past. They're not natural accumulations that result in a new theory being devised that better fits the data. And sometimes even the new theory that's proposed, it has less scientific support than what it's trying to displace, but there's political activity, and then some people die and, you know, they don't get to purport their theory anymore. But so that book looks at how science can transform. Not that it has no credibility, because it's just a free-for-all with different people vying for, you know, to promote their own theory, but how its development actually isn't rationally structured at every juncture. So there's a difference between what gets called in that book normal science, which is just building on and coming up with better data and so on, and then these ruptures that are revolutions, or something close to that anyway. And then we get a different kind of theoretical framework for analyzing some of the same data, and that also gives us some new data. That is in the same vein as some of Foucault's early work. So what is it that happens when these systems reconfigure at these junctures? And why does it look like, Foucault is very interested in this, why does it look like that systems reconfigure in different fields? He was just looking at different fields of knowledge at that time. How is it that they seem to reconfigure at about the same time? And he looks particularly at about the year 1800, when we move from natural history to the science of biology, right around that time. At the same time, there was a move from analysis of wealth to political economy, and a move from philology, prior to philology, from grammar, I guess different kinds of grammar, to linguistics. Those fields emerged in the 19th century, and within a couple of decades of each other. Why does so much important knowledge reconfigure at about the same time? He didn't answer the question of why. He just showed in that book that it had seemed to happen that way. In some of his other works, he's much more interested in the conditions, the possibility of such transformations. So that's why it would be called post-structuralist. I use the term for myself just because Foucault did, and I don't have a good label. Because I'm a perpetual novice.